Good Thursday morning to you, weather and meteorologist Evan Hatter with a check of your forecast on this Friday Eve, brought to you as always by On Target. And we do have a lot to discuss as we head through the forecast, mainly tomorrow night into Saturday. That's when the return of severe weather looks to be a possibility all throughout the region, and I think we're going to have to spend some time on this. So let's go ahead and dive into where we are now. It is a mild start to our Thursday. Temperatures in the middle and upper 50s throughout the region. We're 54 on the north side of Bowling Green, 59 Russellville, and on the Warren-Barron County line, 58 at the WKU Research Farm. The cool spot, 55 in Franklin, and we've already hit 60 in Morgantown and in Scottsville this morning. That's thanks to this canopy of low cloudiness we have sitting over the region. D93 Skycam overlooking downtown Bowling Green shows that really well this morning. You can see the clouds lit up by the underside, or the underside of the clouds lit up by the city lights this morning. You can really see some of those low clouds kind of working in, or at least the mid-level clouds working in during the overnight hours. We had a shot here a second ago on our Sexton Bin Builder Skycam out in Gold City in Simpson County. The moon behind those clouds. A little tough to see right now, but the moon is actually going to be, as we head toward tomorrow, or as we head toward late tonight, the moon is going to be the big feature of the forecast. Well, not necessarily the weather forecast, but the eclipse forecast. We'll have the details on that here in just a second, but we can tell you that weather is starting to change as soon as the day today. I think our first chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms works into the region as we head into the day today. Really ramps up late tomorrow night into early Saturday, and again as we head into Saturday afternoon and evening. So let's dive right in. Start with the temperatures this morning. And we talked about the model's actually underdoing temperatures a little bit. This particular model, the high-resolution rapid refresh, underdoing temperatures a touch this morning. So add a couple of degrees to that as we work through the morning hours. But this particular model shows by mid-morning, we're pushing the mid-60s. We're back into the low to mid-70s heading into the afternoon. I think upper 70s a good bet. But you notice these areas, you see there south of Cookeville where we have that area of kind of yellow blooming there. That's the response on the temperature map for the potential for some showers and thunderstorms developing today with a weak surface wave that's going to be pushing through later on this afternoon and into tonight. I don't think it's a big deal, but I wouldn't be surprised if you run into a shower or rumble of thunder later on tonight and into the early hours of our Friday morning. You notice we finally calm things down, cool things off overnight, headed out for the lunar eclipse. We'll talk about that in a second. You see those temperatures down into the upper 50s and low 60s by 1 o'clock. If you maybe set the old alarm and want to see the lunar eclipse out there, the blood moon, we'll talk about that, like I said, in a second, with those temperatures getting into the 50s by the time we wake up on our Friday morning. And then, well, the temperatures, I mean, we're talking low to mid-70s by midday. I wouldn't be shocked tomorrow if we run into the 80s. This particular model says best chance for the 80s out in West Kentucky, out toward the Boot Heel of Missouri, but I do think a lot of us are going to have a chance at the 80s tomorrow because of those gusty south winds being brought up by that extremely strong low pressure over the Central Plains states that will be kicking off this whole severe weather mess as we head through the weekend. Again, looking at the potential for rainfall as we head through today, this is a simulated radar. It actually shows some showers to our west by 7 a.m. I think that's a little overdone. I don't see anything on the radar right now. We didn't talk about the radar because there's nothing on it. But as we head through the afternoon hours, again, some scattered clouds. It shows those scattered showers and storms developing down near Cookeville, Tennessee. Maybe a few downpours developing this afternoon. Don't take this as the gospel. Don't take this by, it's 8 o'clock tonight and you're in eastern parts of Allen County and going, you said it was going to rain. It's just a general idea with the potential for some gusty winds at times, but severe weather is unlikely with today's storms. Anything kind of dissipates into the overnight hours. This is where we look at the potential to look at that lunar eclipse overnight. You may have to look through the clouds at times for this lunar eclipse just because we're going to be dealing with that system kind of pushing on out of the region. Here's the map it's on a map. It's a graphic from NASA showing exactly when the moon would be entering that eclipse phase. I would say by midnight, this is where the moon would be starting to enter into the shadow of the Earth, is what it is. We get into that 50% partial eclipse by about 12:45, and then as we head towards 1:30, totality begins at 1:26 a.m. Central Daylight Time. The moment of greatest eclipse will be at 2 a.m. or 1:59 a.m., with totality ending about 32 minutes later, and then we finally get the moon out of the Earth's shadow by about 3 o'clock. So set those alarms if you want to get up early this morning or early tomorrow morning and look at the blood moon eclipse out there. The moon turns blood red in the shadow of the shadow of the Earth, casting the shadow across the moon, interrupting the sunlight that usually reflects off the moon. So very, very interesting sight in the skies across Wobbles tomorrow morning. As we head towards tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, that's where we have to keep a very close eye on the forecast, starting out west. We've talked about all week this very strong low pressure that will be spinning up and moving across the central into the northern plains states. What that should do on Friday afternoon is that should really develop a line of showers and thunderstorms late into the day on Friday and early into the day on Saturday. This is Friday evening at 7 o'clock. And you see the very heavy rainfall associated with this out to the west. In fact, the low pressure is like up here, and there's our frontal boundary kicking off some very gusty showers and thunderstorms. We have quite a bit of wind energy with this. The low pressure is going to be around 980 millibars, if not a little bit lower than that. So what that's going to do is promote quite a bit of very warm air streaming up into the storm. That's where we see those temperatures tomorrow getting up into the upper 70s and low 80s, because we're transporting that warmth and moisture up into the region. And those gusts tomorrow could be in the range of 40 to 50, or at least 30 to 40 miles per hour. I would expect a wind advisory to come out for tomorrow as we head a little bit later on into tonight from our friends at the National Weather Service, because that will be kicking up such strong wind. And that's outside of any thunderstorms, by the way. But you see that arcing band of thunderstorms developing initially across Kansas and Missouri. We would expect these to be supercell thunderstorms that are rotating as we head through the late hours of Friday into early Saturday. Eventually, those will congeal into a line, at least a broken line, of showers and thunderstorms. That would promote the potential for very gusty winds, damaging winds, in fact, in excess of 60 miles per hour, and the potential for some tornadoes out there. Mostly isolated tornadoes. These are mostly the quick spin-up type tornadoes that happen sometimes even between radar scans. They're kind of hard to track in the line of thunderstorms, but they generally don't last long. These are not your long track kind of big tornadoes, but if it happens to impact your house, you could be dealing with damage if that happens to hit your house. So while the tornado threat is not huge, it is notable enough that we need to keep an eye on it as we head through tomorrow into the overnight hours. And you notice the NAM in particular wants to break that line up into individual cells, which would enhance, especially west of our area, the tornado threat. So that's something to watch. That congeals as we head into the morning hours and pushes to the east and weakens across central Kentucky. But this is as we head into Saturday afternoon. You notice across portions of the deep south, that's where we start to regenerate showers and thunderstorms during the overnight hours, or during the afternoon hours, I should say. What's happening is a secondary surface low is developing well off to the south across the Mississippi Delta. That will locally enhance the potential for rotating thunderstorms further to the south. But what it'll also do is really bring the moisture up into the deep south. And that will bring them the potential for very severe weather across the deep south. That's where the greatest threat tomorrow, or I should say Saturday, the greatest threat on Saturday is going to be across the deep south. Doesn't mean we don't have a threat, but the greatest threat is going to be down there where there is much better turning of the winds, there's much better fuel, but I think we get at least the leftovers of some of that as we head through Saturday afternoon. You notice this eventually congeals into a line, tries to push up into the area as we head through Saturday evening. So if you know anybody who's traveling to the SEC tournament down in Nashville, let them know. Things could get stormy on Saturday evening. This is between 7 and 10. And then on the north side of that is where the heavy rain would be. On the south and east side of that is where you would get the potential for your isolated supercell thunderstorms that could develop tornadoes, mainly across the deep south. But again, we'll show you the risk map in a second. I don't think our tornado threat is zero, but it is certainly lower than what they're dealing with further to the south. After that, things line out as we head through the early hours of Sunday. Maybe some showers left over, but once that pushes east, we're done with this particular system, and we start to quiet down as we finish the weekend and get into early next week. So the map from the Storm Prediction Center this morning, they have released their newest map, and they introduced a Day 2 moderate risk. That's a level 4 out of 5 across portions of the Mississippi Valley, from the Boot Heel of Missouri up into Iowa, including places like Paducah, Mayfield, St. Louis, into Champaign, Illinois, and on further up to the north, where the greatest threat for tornadoes and very damaging winds. In fact, the moderate risk is what we call wind-driven. It's a 45% wind risk with the potential for those winds to get up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. That tapers to a level 3 enhanced risk as you head into the western parts of Wobbles. This includes Logan County. This includes Butler County. I mean, don't take the exact, stripe of that map as the gospel, but just look at the trend in that the rest of Wobbles is in the level 2 slight risk, and then even into the marginal risk as you head further to the east into the I-75 corridor. That just tells the story that storms should be weakening as they push in here with the greatest threat to our west. But of course, we'll be watching it like a hawk as we head into our Friday night. This would likely be overnight Friday past midnight into the early hours of Saturday, so make sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings. That phone, the weather radio. What we don't want you to do is rely on an outdoor siren. It's very hard to hear those indoors, especially when you're sleeping at night with the wind-driven heavy rain. Make sure that you have those multiple ways to receive warnings, especially if these work out into the overnight hours. Heading into the day on Saturday, the entire region is just about in the level 2 level 2 slight risk for severe weather, with the level 3 enhanced risk being bumped up to include the southern parts of Wobbles, Allen, and Simpson counties, southern parts of Logan County, into the southern parts of Warren County and Barron County as well. Again, don't take this as the gospel. These maps will change, but I also want to point out that this is not nearly the highest threat with this storm. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a rather rare Day 3 moderate risk across the Deep South, across portions of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, from New Orleans up to Birmingham. That is where the most severe weather, at least right now, the highest confidence in the most severe weather will be. It will be in a bit of a weakening phase. Our ingredients just aren't as good as what they're dealing with down to the south, but especially if you know somebody down into portions of Alabama or Mississippi, and maybe they don't keep up with the weather, call them and let them know Saturday is a serious threat for those folks. That doesn't mean we don't take our threat seriously. It means the highest confidence of the worst weather is going to be further to the south. But again, damaging winds and isolated tornadoes, along with very heavy rain, the main threats heading into the day on Saturday. And again, this map will change. It'll change again this afternoon. Same thing with the map for tomorrow. We'll change that map again around lunchtime, and we'll change this map again in the afternoon. The Storm Prediction Center, as of last August, now issues Day 3 updates. So we'll likely get some clarification on this map as we head into the afternoon hours. The briefing from the National Weather Service, our friends at the National Weather Service, kind of going over what we've already talked about. Wind gusts in excess of 40 miles per hour likely outside of any storms, especially after 11 o'clock or midnight on Friday night. That line of strong to severe storms pushes east. The greatest threat is out to our west. It will diminish as it works in here, but it still exists, so we need to keep an eye on it, especially this hitting during the overnight hours. Damaging winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour, the potential for some brief tornadoes, and an isolated instance of hail. I think the greatest threat for that is going to be out to the west. Into Saturday, again, most of the region dealing with those wind gusts in excess of 30 to 40 miles per hour outside of any storms. Severe weather threat, again, continues across the entire region, with that level 3 enhanced risk starting to push into wobbles, so it's something we need to watch very, very closely. 1 to 3 inches of rain potentially as well. We haven't talked about the heavy rain threat as much, but that will be a threat as well heading through the day on Saturday. Damaging winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Some instances of large hail, especially if we can get those supercells out there, and isolated tornadoes. I don't think they would be the longer duration tornadoes. I think that threat is mainly off to the south, but we need to keep an eye on that potential through the day on Saturday. I know a lot of folks have things going on Saturday. It's a warm day, kind of our first real big, warm, nice weekend, but we need to stay weather aware heading into the day on Saturday with that potential for strong to severe thunderstorms in place. And again, heavy rain, a potential as well. For the most part, we should be able to handle it. It's been a while since our bigger threat of heavy rain. It's been a while, but we still need to watch it very closely heading into the day on Saturday. A 30 to 50% chance of at least reaching minor flood stage on the Green River. That's going to be downstream of Munfordville by early next week. It's something we'll continue to keep a very close eye on as we head through the weekend. We'll have updates all throughout the day today, into tomorrow, and obviously into Saturday on our social media pages. At WX or not BG on X, Whether or Not Bowling Green on Twitter, on Facebook. We're also on Blue Sky, WX or not BG.bsky.social if you're over there, as well as on our Instagram page at WX or not BG. So just make sure you're staying weather aware as we head through this weekend. Next 6-day weather forecast, 77 today with that spotty chance of a shower or thunderstorm. No big issues. 53 tonight, mostly clear for the lunar eclipse. 82 tomorrow with partly sunny skies. During the day, I think we're okay, but breezy. Winds really kick up Friday night with those showers and thunderstorms moving through, some of them strong to severe. Saturday, more strong to severe thunderstorms possible, high in the mid-70s. We get that cold front crashing through here Saturday night, cooling into the 40s. We're back near 60 for Sunday and Monday with those cooler conditions at night, 35 Sunday night, 44 on Monday. We warm it back up as we head towards Tuesday and Wednesday. Another system looks to try to move into the region as we head towards Wednesday into Thursday of next week. Right now, severe weather threats look low with that. I don't think we're going to get the moisture return thanks to this system working through, but it's something we'll keep a very close eye on. We're in the severe weather season, so we need to watch any of these systems that move through for the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms. I hope that all made sense. We're past 15 minutes here this morning. I'm glad you joined us this morning for our Whether or Not Bowling Green morning update, brought to you as always by On Target. We'll continue to have updates on the weekend weather situation on our social media pages. Have a great day, everybody, and a great rest of your Thursday and into Friday as well.